Greetings, all my Star Wars fans. Dr. Jones here. Another interview episode of Tales from Tyranus. Being that we are still battling with the social distancing and not able to get out too much, this is going to be a format we're going to use for a little bit, at least until we can get back out to troops where people are actually in physical space together. Now, last time we talked to a pretty famous builder. In fact, I didn't realize how famous Brian was among our community and how many people have been watching that show. And we've got some lined up for some celebrity builders as well. But I've been watching Facebook and the different Star Wars groups, and I keep seeing these posts of folks getting their new costumes and folks going on their first troops. And I realize that being a new member now is totally different than it used to be. It used to be you build your costume and like immediately you're out on a troop. Well, now that's not the case. You have to really, really try hard to troop. Plus, I think folks that have been in a while kind of forget. We might get caught up in some of the little details or the politics of things, and we forget what it was like to be fresh, to be a new member, what it was like to build that first costume or the first couple costumes. And so today, we have a real treat. We've got a new member, relatively new from the beginning of the year, end of last year, and just went on his first troop in a TK. And I'm talking about Jarod Silvius. Jarod, please introduce yourself to the group and let us know a little bit about you.
Okay. Hello, I'm Jarod Silvius. I am a junior in college right now, going to Radford University. And I just got back from my first official TK troop yesterday.
What are you studying at Radford?
I am a criminal justice major with a minor in crime scene investigation.
Very nice, very nice. Now, one of the things I like to find out about people is, how did you come to Star Wars? I mean, I'm more your dad's age. I have a son your age. So I was 7 when when A New Hope first came out. And so when I came into Star Wars, it was going to the theater and seeing them in the theater. It was before, VCRs and Netflix and all that stuff. And, the original toys, the Kenner toys were the ones that I played with. What about you? What brought you to Star Wars? What was your first, your first experience?
Okay, so I have really been around Star Wars all my life, and I don't have a pinpoint memory of what actually introduced me to Star Wars. So I remember as a young kid, I was just always there with my dad and always watching them. They introduced me to the original trilogy, and then I saw episode 2 and 3 in the theaters when I was a toddler. And so I don't really remember it all that well, but I do remember going with my dad to see the newer movies. Every time we would get up and we'd go for the midnight release of Rogue One, Solo, and the sequels. And so I've just kind of been immersed in Star Wars my whole life and absolutely loved it.
It's interesting. Most younger people will talk about animated series or things like that. It's kind of cool to hear that, even though you weren't from the same generation, you came into this watching the original movies and then kind of, little bit of prequels and then the newer movies now. What's your favorite? What do you like the best?
So my absolute favorite Star Wars movie that I have has got to be Star Wars Episode 3. Revenge of the Sith. It really has got to be my favorite movie.
What makes that your favorite?
Just a combination of a lot of things with the epic lightsaber fights, of course, in the end, and the music with John Williams' composition, especially the ending fight, Battle of the Heroes, how it just ties everything together, and just seeing all that. And once you watch the Clone Wars animated series, actually watch through that, watching all this character development that happens in there, really expands like just so much on the characters of Obi-Wan and Anakin and all of them, and it just makes that movie just so much better after having that experience and knowledge of everything else that's happened.
Very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have a couple of costumes. You went kind of the traditional route of bridge crew, the softer costumes first, and then you took the plunge and did a TK. And you just recently went on your first troop as a TK. Tell me about that. Tell us about your first troop as a TK.
So it was a lot of fun. We went to a hospital out here in Blacksburg. They really didn't have a lot of patients. They were mostly there as a morale booster for all the staff. So I got in there. I had really no clue what I was doing, but remember Wayne was there from Sereno Squad and a couple of the others. I terrible with names, trying to remember them, but they just helped me out get in there, and it was really nice hanging out with all them. And then just going through the hospital, watching all the staff get all excited when they saw us and cheering and smiling and taking pictures. It was just so much fun. It really was.
So what do you think of the logistics involved with an armored character, having it in a bin, carrying it, getting it in a place where you can put it on, finding somebody to help you put it on? How was that?
It was fairly easy. I have a big bin that has all three of my costumes as well as my Mando, and it's I managed to slide it in the back of my car and just pull it out, and we parked in a closer parking lot. And when I was building the costume, my dad built his first, and I was there watching him build it. So I learned some of the stuff of what he did and what I didn't want. So I built it so the only thing I need help putting on are my shoulders. That's the only thing I need help with just someone to snap the shoulders on. And doing that was simple. I just asked one of the other TKs, the thing was Frank, and he was just able to just come right over and just pop them on for me.
So you talked about building your costume along with your dad. Your dad built his first. You kind of came after. How was that process? Was it what you expected? What was the hardest part?
I did not expect the Stormtrooper costume to be what it was. I thought we bought a costume and then it was there. We did minor stuff and then we were able to wear it. I was not expecting that it was just going to be a big sheet of plastic that we just had to cut and trim and put together and everything. And we, one of the so I think it was AM Armorers, was doing a Father's Day sale last year. And so for Father's Day, my dad bought 2 kits for basically the price of one, and it was a really great deal. And he started working on his, and I started trimming mine, and then I had to go to college, so I wasn't able to finish it. But when I got back last year, over the summer, we just worked and we got it done the week before I had to leave. So it was just so much fun. And the hardest part for me, honestly, was trying to build all the snap plates and cutting the snap in for the snaps to go into the straps. We had this old hand crank machine that had holes in it that was mostly a hole puncher, and trying to cut that through the fabric it was so hard, and my hands I did not have the strength in my hands to try and cut through the fabric like that.
For me, I think it was right as you're getting to the end, where you need another person to help you, fit it and get the final touches on it. That's where it kind of got hard and frustrating for me. Is I could cut the pieces out, I could glue them together. You can only get so far by yourself, and then you have to have someone else there to do the final parts.
Yeah, with the fitting, we were actually terrified. Like I was terrified because I didn't want to cut too much off, but I am small and very just small proportions, and we're just getting stuff fitted, and it's this needs to be smaller, and I'm I don't know if it can go any smaller. I don't know if it's gonna mess up or whatnot. My forearms right now, the forearm piece is longer than my actual forearm.
Oh wow.
So it's constantly bumping up, and I can't really move or do anything because it's just sliding alongst my arm.
Yeah, I have the opposite problem as many of our members. I'm larger and my weight fluctuates a lot, and so I actually have adjustable shims on the side of my costume that allows me to, if I'm thinner, I can bring them in, but if I'm heavier, I can let them out a little bit. So, being a member of the 501st, I think when we ask everybody at the end of our show, hey, all you need to be is 18 years old to have a screen accurate costume and all the things for membership. The one biggest thing you need is a love for Star Wars. And I think it's gotta, it can't just be I like Star Wars. It's gotta be way more than that. So what is Star Wars to you? What's it mean to you?
So Star Wars to me, it is more than just a movie and a TV series. It is a life lesson, a teacher, many ways an example. Reading through the books and watching movies and shows that I've learned a lot about just general life lessons in general. Being able to learn and do things, it's just really great. I really wouldn't be who I am today without being introduced to Star Wars and watching all that and learning just through watching.
Yeah. So you're familiar with Joseph Campbell's work and all the things that influenced Lucas in writing?
I am not.
Yeah. So
Actually.
I think some of what you're talking about is, George Lucas was really influenced by an author named Joseph Campbell, who was a psychologist. And what Campbell found is that through all these different societies, people who had never met each other, people who lived in totally different parts of the world in different times, they all had very similar patterns in the stories that they told and in the mythology that they told. And he really built that. It's called the hero's journey. He built that into the Star Wars saga. And so, a lot of people really believe that this is modern mythology. This the idea of Star Wars is our mythology, and we do learn life lessons from it.
Very interesting. I did not know about that.
Yeah, I'll shoot you some information on Campbell and some of the stuff that that he did that influenced Lucas. But more than just Star Wars, you've taken the step to now I'm in this club, and the 501st is not just a small Star Wars community. I mean, it's huge, and it takes a lot to be able to build a screen accurate costume and to go out and you did a hospital troop. I mean, those are the the most rewarding, amazing troops that you can do. What does that mean to you? What does being a member of this club mean to you?
Being a member of the 501st, it means a lot. It's just awesome to get to walk around places wearing a really cool costume and just making people smile. Oh, I will never forget my actual first time getting to see the 501st. It was at RavenCon. I was probably like 8 or something. And just going up there, I saw there was a stormtrooper, a Sev from Republic Commando, all sorts of stuff. It was amazing. I ran back home, had my parents take me back home to put on a Commander Cody costume that I got from like Halloween City or something like that, and come back up with my cool mail-in 501st ID card that I got from Action Figure Toys, and showing it off to everyone. Just enjoyed being there with all of them as a kid, and I really want to be able to do that for future generations. Be that person that just shows up and is awesome and it's just enjoyable interacting with all sorts of people and bring joy to everyone through that.
Now, when you had that experience at RavenCon, was your dad already a member, or was he even interested?
He was interested. He wasn't. My dad really wasn't the one to dress up, so he wasn't a part of it. But he's been talking with him for a while, and he just really didn't want to dress up, and then so he wasn't a part of it at that time.
What do you think changed for him?
I think what kind of changed for him was seeing me, because originally when I was doing this, I was kind of like, I didn't have the money for the 501st. I really wanted to be a stormtrooper. And so at my school, though, I had an opportunity being part of the makerspace to work on building another costume that I wanted to do, which was a Mandalorian, custom Mandalorian. I started working on building that, and my dad saw all the work I was putting in that, and he was like, maybe I could do this. And I think he kind of switched, started talking with some more people. We found he got his bridge crew because he thought that you had to have a stormtrooper in order to be part of the 501st. He didn't realize that the TK was just one of the costumes. He thought in order to get your ID, you had to be a stormtrooper. So I think once he actually found out about that, he got his bridge crew done, got all that set up, and then he saved up. And when that deal came, he was able to get us both stormtrooper costumes for us to be able to work on and build together. And ever since then, all I hear is him talk about now I want to do a Sandy, or I want to build a TIE fighter now. We're 3D printing a DOT-19, the big heavy weapons trooper blaster. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does get to be a little addictive, right? I mean, you rarely do you see the person that just has one costume and that's it. It's usually they have a costume, but they also either have extra props or they're working on another costume. You end up with I'm sure you've seen on the show, I've got a whole room full of mannequins with costumes on, and I don't have nearly the costumes that some people do. But anyway, it was great spending some time with you, hearing your story. Do you have anything we didn't talk about, or anything that you'd like to tell potential members? A lot of people that watch this, I think, are kind of on the outskirts, and they have some of the same feelings that you described earlier. As this seems like an interesting group, and I'd like to join, but it costs a lot of money, and those costumes are hard to build. So what would you say to a potential new member, or just anything you'd like to say to our viewers?
Okay. One thing I would say to potential new members is definitely look at just do a bridge crew or something small, something like that, just to get your number, and go to a couple troops at that, meet some of the people there, the other 501st members, and start communicating with other people. Once you start doing that, making some connections in there, people in here are really nice. They're always willing to help. So when you finally do take the plunge and start building get your TK box or whatever it is, and you have no idea what to do, you can always talk to someone like that, and they'll be there to help you build it and work with you through.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jarod. For those of you that made it all the way to the end, thanks. And if you watch the show, you know what I'm going to say. If you like what you see and you're a member of our garrison, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell so you can be notified when new videos come out. I think with this new format, we'll be able to get one out, more than every, 3 months or so, like we've, been slipping in the past. If you're not a member, but this looks interesting to you, hopefully you picked up some information from Jarod. All you need is to be 18 years old, have a love for Star Wars, have some time to dedicate to the service-based organization, and have a screen accurate costume for one of the bad guys in Star Wars. And that is something that guys like Jarod and myself and a whole network full of people are here to help you with. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for one of our next ones. We got some interesting interviews lined up. And as always, may the Force be with you.